friends, today I am going to read Human Reproduction. As you are aware, humans are sexually reproducing and viviparous. The reproductive events in human includes formation of gametes, gametogenesis, that is formation of sperms in male and ovum in females, transfer of sperm into the female genital tract, insemination and fusion of male and female gametes, fertilization, leading to formation of zygote. This is followed by formation and development of blastocyst and its attachment to the uterine wall, implantation, embryonic development, gestation and delivery of baby, parturition. You have learned that these reproductive events occur after puberty. There are remarkable differences between reproductive events in male and in female. For example, sperm formation continues even in old men, but formation of ovum ceases in women around the age of 50 years. Let us examine the male and female reproductive system in humans. The male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. It includes a pair of testes along with accessory ducts, glands, and external genitalia. Testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch called scrotum. The scrotum helps in maintaining the low temperature of the testes 2 to 2.5 degrees C lower than a normal internal body temperature necessary for spermatogenesis. In adults, each testis is oval in shape with a length of about 4 to 5 cm and width of about 2 to 3 cm. The testis is covered by a dense covering. Each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules in which sperms are produced. Each seminiferous tubule is lined on its inside by two types of cells called male germ cells, spermatogonia and Sertoli cells. The male germ cells undergo meiotic divisions, finally leading to sperm formation, while Sertoli cells provide nutrition to sperm cells. The region outside the seminiferous tubules called interstitial space contain small blood vessels and interstitial cells or leading cells. Leading cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormones called androgens. Other immunological component cells are also present. The male sex accessory ducts include rete testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. Rete testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. The seminiferous tubules of the testis open into the vasa efferentia through rete testis. The vasa efferentia leaves the testis and open into epididymis located along the posterior surface of each testis. Epididymis lead to vas deferens that ascends to abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. It receives a duct from seminal vesicles and open into urethra as the ejaculatory duct. These ducts store and transport the sperm from the testis to the outside through urethra. The urethra originates from urinary bladder and extends through the penis to its external opening called urethral meatus. The penis is the male external genitalia. It is made up of a special tissue that helps in erection of the penis to facilitate insemination. The enlarged end of penis called the glans penis is covered by loose fold of skin called foreskin. The male accessory glands includes pair, seminal vesicle or prostate and a paired bulbourethral gland. Secretions of the glands constitute the seminal plasma, which is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes. The secretions of bulbourethral glands also help in lubrication of the penis. The female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries along with a pair of oviducts, uterus, cervix, vagina and the external genitalia located in pelvic region. These parts of the system along with a pair of mammary glands are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and child care. Ovaries are the primary female sex organs that produce the female gamete, ovum and several steroid hormones, ovarian hormones. The ovaries are located on each side of the Lower abdomen. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 cm in length and is connected to the pelvic wall and uterus by ligaments. Each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma. The stroma is divided into two zones, the peripheral cortex and inner medulla. The oviduct, fallopian tube, uterus, and vagina constitute the female accessory ducts. Each fallopian tube is about 10 to 12 cm long and extends from the periphery of each ovary to the uterus. The part closer to the ovary is the funnel-shaped infundibulum. The edges of infundibulum poses finger-like projections called fimbriae, which helps in collection of the ovum after ovulation. The infundibulum leads to wider part of oviduct called ampulla. The last part of oviduct, isthmus, has a narrow lumen and it joins the uterus. The uterus is single and is also called womb. The shape of uterus is like an inverted pear. It is supported by ligaments attached to the pelvic wall. The uterus opens into vagina through a narrow cervix. The cavity of the cervix is called cervical canal, which along with vagina forms the birth canal. The wall of uterus has 3 layers of tissue: the external thin membranous perimetrium, middle thick layer of smooth muscle myometrium, and the inner glandular layer called endometrium that lines the uterine cavity. The endometrium undergoes cyclic changes during menstrual cycle, while the myometrium exhibits strong contraction during delivery of the baby. The female external genitalia includes mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, and clitoris. Mons pubis is a cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. The labia majora are fleshy folds of tissue which extends down from the mons pubis and surrounded the vagina opening. The labia minora are pair fold of tissue under the labia majora. The opening of the vagina is often covered partially by a membrane called hymen. The clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of the two labia minora above the urethral opening. The hymen often torn during the first coitus intercourse. However, it can also be broken by a sudden fall or jolt, insertion of a vaginal tampon, active participation in some sports like horseback riding, cycling, etc. In some women, the hymen persists even after coitus. In fact, presence or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity or sexual experience. A functional mammary gland is characteristic of all female mammals. The mammary glands are paired to structure breasts that contain glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. The glandular tissue of each breast is divided into 50 to 20 mammary lobes containing clusters of cells called alveoli. The cells of alveoli secrete milk which is stored in the cavity's lumen of the alveoli. The alveoli open into mammary tubules. The tubules of each lobe joins to form mammary duct. Several mammary ducts join to form a wider mammary ampulla which is connected to the lactiferous duct through which milk is sucked out. Now gametogenesis. The primary sex organs, the testes in male and the ovaries in the females, produce gametes, that is sperms and ovum respectively, by the process called gametogenesis. In testes, the immature male germ cells, spermatogonia, produce sperms by spermatogenesis that begins at puberty. The spermatogonia, singular spermatogonium, present on the inside wall of the seminiferous tubule, multiply by mitotic division and increase in number. Each spermatogonium is diploid and contains 46 chromosomes. Some of the spermatogonia, called primary spermatocytes, periodically undergo meiosis. A primary spermatocyte completes the first meiotic division, reduction division, leading to formation of two equal haploid cells called secondary spermatocytes, which have only 23 chromosomes each. The secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic division to produce 4 equal haploid spermatids. What would be the number of chromosomes in the spermatids and haploid? 23. The spermatids are transformed into spermatozoa sperms by the process called spermiogenesis. After spermiogenesis, sperms had become embedded in the Sertoli cells and are finally released from the seminiferous tubules by a process called spermiation. Spermatogenesis starts at the age of puberty due to significant increase in the secretion of gonadotropin releasing hormone GnRH. This, if you recall, is a hypothalamic hormone. The increased level of GnRH then acts at the anterior pituitary gland and stimulates secretion of two gonadotropins, luteinizing hormone LH and follicular stimulating hormone FSH. LH acts at the leading cells and stimulates synthesis and secretion of androgens. Androgens in turn stimulate process of spermatogenesis. FSH acts on the Sertoli cells and stimulates secretion of some factors which help in the process of spermiogenesis. Let us examine the structure of a sperm. It is a microscopic structure composed of head, neck, middle piece and a tail. A plasma membrane envelops the whole body of the sperm. The sperm head contains an elongated haploid nucleus, the anterior portion of which is covered by a cap-like structure called acrosome. Acrosome is filled with enzymes that helps in fertilization of the ovum. The middle piece possesses numerous mitochondria which produce energy for movement of the tail that facilitate sperm motility essential for fertilization. Human male ejaculates about 200 to 300 million sperms during a coitus, of which for normal fertility at least 60% sperms must have normal shape and size, and for at least 40% of them must show vigorous motility. Sperms released from the seminiferous tubules are transported by the accessory ducts. Secretion of epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, and prostates are essential for maturation and motility of sperms. The seminal plasma, along with the sperms, constitute the semen. The function of male sex accessory ducts and glands are maintained by the testicular hormones androgens. Process of formation of mature female gamete is called oogenesis, which is markedly different from spermatogenesis. Oogenesis is initiated during the embryonic development stage when a couple of million gametes, mother cells, oogonia, are formed within each fetal ovary. No more oogonia are formed and added after birth. The cells start division and enter into prophase 1 of meiotic division and get temporarily arrested at that stage, called primary oocytes. Each primary oocyte then gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells and then called the primary follicle. A large number of these follicles degenerate during the phase from birth to puberty. Therefore, at puberty, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary. The primary follicles get surrounded by more layer of granulosa cells and a new theca and are called secondary follicles. The secondary follicle soon transform into a tertiary follicle, which is characterized by a fluid-filled cavity called antrum. The theca layer is organized into an inner theca interna and an outer theca externa. It is important to draw your attention that it is at this stage that the primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle grows in size and completes its first meiotic division. It is an unequal division resulting in the formation of a large haploid secondary oocytes and a teeny first polar body. The secondary oocyte retains bulks of the nutrient-rich cytoplasm of the primary oocyte. Can you think of any advantage for this? Yes, it can take nutrition from this. Does the first polar body born out of first meiotic division divides further or degenerate? At present, we are not very certain about this. The tertiary follicle further changes into the mature or Graafian follicle. The secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called zona pellucida surrounding it. The Graafian follicle now ruptures to release the secondary oocyte ovum from the ovary by the process called ovulation. Now, a diagrammatic representation of spermatogenesis and oogenesis is given below in the diagram. Now, menstrual cycle. The reproductive cycle in the female primates, that is monkey, apes and human beings, is called menstrual cycle. The first menstruation begins at puberty and is called menarche. In human females, menstruation is repeated at an average interval of about 28 to 29 days, and the cycle of events starting from one menstruation till the next one is called menstrual cycle. One ovum is released ovulation during the middle of each menstrual cycle. The major events of menstrual cycle are shown in figure 3.9. The cycle starts with the menstrual phase when the menstrual flow occurs and it lasts for 3 to 5 days. The menstrual flow results due to breakdown of endometrial lining of the uterus and its blood vessels, which forms liquid that comes out through the vagina. Menstruation only occurs if the released ovum is not fertilized. Lack of menstruation may be indicative of pregnancy. However, it may also be caused due to some other underlying causes like stress, poor health, etc. The menstrual phase is followed by follicular phase. During this phase, the primary follicle in the ovaries grows to become a fully mature Graafian follicle, and simultaneously the endometrium of uterus regenerates through the proliferation. These changes in the ovary and the uterus are induced by changes in the level of pituitary, LH and FSH, and ovarian hormone estrogen and progesterone. The secretions of gonadotropin, LH and FSH increase gradually during the follicular phase and stimulates follicular development as well as secretion of estrogens by the growing follicles. Both LH and FSH attains a peak level in the middle of cycle, about 14th to 14th day. Rapid secretion of LH leading to its maximum level during the mid-cycle, called LH surge, induces rupture of Graafian follicle and thereby the release of ovum, ovulation. The ovulatory phase is followed by luteal phase, during which the remaining parts of the Graafian follicle transform as the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum secretes a large amount of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of the endometrium. Such an endometrium is necessary for implantation of the fertilized ovum and other events of pregnancy. During pregnancy, all events of menstrual cycle stops and there is no menstruation. In the absence of fertilization, the corpus luteum degenerates. This causes disintegration of the endometrium, leading to menstruation, marking a new cycle. In human beings, menstrual cycle ceases around 50 years of age. This is termed as menopause. Cyclic menstruation is an indicator of normal reproductive phase and extends between menarche and menopause. Fertilization and implantation. During copulation, coitus semen is released by the penis into the vagina. Insemination, the motile sperm swims rapidly, pass through the cervix, enter into the uterus, and finally reach the junction of isthmus and ampulla, ampullary isthmic junction of the fallopian tube. The ovum released by the ovary is also transported to the ampullary isthmic junction, where fertilization takes place. Fertilization can only occur if the ovum and sperms are transported simultaneously to the ampullary isthmic junction. This is the reason why not all copulations leads to fertilization and pregnancy. The process of fusion of sperms with an ovum is called fertilization. During fertilization, a sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida layer of the ovum and induces changes in the membrane that blocks the entry of additional sperms. Thus, it ensures that only one sperm can fertilize an ovum. Secretions of the acrosomes helps the sperms enter into the cytoplasm of the ovum through the zona pellucida and the plasma membrane. This induces the completion of the meiotic divisions of the secondary oocyte. Second meiotic division is also unequal and results in formation of a second polar body and a haploid ovum oocyte. Soon the haploid nucleus of the sperms and that of the ovum fuse together to form a diploid zygote. How many chromosomes will be there in the zygote? 2n46. One has to remember that the sex of the baby has been decided at this stage itself. Let us see how. As you know, the chromosome pattern in the human female is XX and that in the male is XY. Therefore, all the haploid gametes produced by the female ova have the sex chromosome X, whereas in the male gametes sperms the sex chromosome could be either X or Y. Hence, 50% of sperms carry the X chromosome while the other 50% carry the Y. After fusion of the male and female gametes, the zygote would carry either XX or XY depending on whether the sperm carrying X or Y fertilized the ovum. The zygote carrying XX would develop into a female baby and XY would form a male. You will learn more about the chromosomal pattern in chapter 5. That is why significantly it is correct to say that the sex of baby is determined by the father and not by the mother. The mitotic division starts as the zygote moves through the isthmus of the oviduct called cleavage towards the uterus and forms 2, 4, 8, 16 daughter cells called blastomeres. The embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres is called a morula. The morula continues to divide and transform into blastocyst as it moves further into the uterus. The blastomeres in the blastocyst are arranged into an outer layer called trophoblast or tropactoderm and an inner group of cells attached to trophoblast called inner cell mass. Trophoblast layer then gets attached to the endometrium and the inner cell mass get differentiated as the embryo. After attachment, the uterine cells divide repeatedly and covers the blastocyst. As a result, the blastocyst becomes embedded in the endometrium of the uterus. This is called implantation and it leads to pregnancy. Pregnancy and embryonic development. After implantation, finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast called chorionic villi, which are surrounded by the uterine tissue and maternal blood. The chorionic villi or uterine tissue become interdigitated with each other and jointly form a structural and functional unit between developing embryo, fetus, and maternal body called placenta. Placenta facilitate the supply of oxygen and nutrient to the embryo and also removal of carbon dioxide and excretory waste materials produced by the embryo. The placenta is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord which help in transport of substances to and from the embryo. Placenta also acts as endocrine tissue and produces several hormones like human chorionic gonadotropins, HCG, human placental lactogen, HPL, estrogen and progesterone, etc. In the latter phase of pregnancy, a hormone called relaxin is also secreted by the ovary. Let us remember that HCG, HPL and relaxin are produced in women only during pregnancy. In addition, during pregnancy, the level of other hormones like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. are increased several folds in the maternal blood. Increased production of these hormones is essential for supporting the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and maintenance of pregnancy. Immediately after implantation, the inner cell mass embryo differentiates into an outer layer called ectoderm and an inner layer called endoderm. Mesoderm soon appear between the ecto and the endoderm. These three layers give rise to all the tissue organs in adults. It needs to be mentioned here that the inner cell mass contains certain cells called stem cells which have the potential to give rise to all the tissues and organs. What are the major features of embryonic development at various months of pregnancy? The human pregnancy lasts 9 months. Do you know many years pregnancy lasts in dogs, elephant, cats? Find out. In human beings, after 1 month of pregnancy, the embryo's heart is formed. The first sign of the growing fetus may be noticed by listening to the heart sound carefully through the stethoscope. By the end of second month of pregnancy, the fetus develops limbs and digits. By the end of 12 weeks, first trimester, most of the major organ systems are formed. For example, the limbs and external genital organs are well developed. The first movement of the fetus and appearance of hair on the head are usually observed during the 5th month. By the end of 24 weeks, second trimester, the body is covered with fine hairs, eyelid separates and eyelashes are formed. By the end of 9 months of pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and is ready for delivery. Now parturition and lactation. The average duration of human pregnancy is about 9 months, which is called gestation period. Vigorous contraction of the uterus at the end of pregnancy causes expulsion, delivery of the fetus. The process of delivery of the fetus, childbirth, is called parturition. Parturition is induced by complex neuroendocrine mechanism. The signal for parturition originates from fully developed fetus and the placenta, which induce mild uterine contraction called fetal ejection reflex. This triggers release of oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. Oxytocin acts on the uterine muscle and causes stronger uterine contraction, which in turn stimulates further secretion of oxytocin. The stimulatory reflex between the uterine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues, resulting in stronger and stronger contractions. This leads to expulsion of the baby out of the uterus through the birth canal. Parturition. Soon after the infant is delivered, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus. What do you think the doctors inject to induce delivery? Pitocin. The mammary glands of the female undergo differentiation during pregnancy and starts producing milk towards the end of pregnancy by the process called lactation. This helps the mother in feeding the newborn. The milk produced during the initial few days of lactation is called colostrum, which contains several antibodies like IgA, absolutely essential to develop resistance for the newborn babies. Breastfeeding during the initial period of infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing up a healthy baby. Thank you.